The Chiefs are world champions, and there was some OU news that broke in the middle of their championship win, and all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time today. The Chiefs are Super Bowl champions. Super Bowl 54. LIV. Patrick Mahomes at 24 years old came back from 2 scores down to will the Kansas City Chiefs to their first win in over 50 years. My goodness. Shout to all the Chiefs fans that I know. Oklahoma is littered with them, man. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is your night. Special shout out to Damian Williams, Darwin Thompson, Blake Bell, and the like, who have won a Super Bowl. Even Tyreek Hill, as much as people are going to hate some of that. They won a championship, and good for Andy Reid. I know that there's not a person alive who has followed the NFL for any length of time that hasn't been pulling for that guy, who, by the way, had some outstanding clock management there at the end. Patrick Mahomes is the chosen one, 24 years old, won a Super Bowl, said he was going to get there last year, and I am excited to see what their parade is like in Kansas City. You guys deserve it. Now, in the middle of that, around 7 o'clock, Oklahoma received a commitment of sorts. Grad transfer Obi Obialo is headed to Oklahoma from Marshall, where he spent the last couple of years. This guy has transferred for the second time now. So coming out of Coppell, Texas, he was a walk-on at Oklahoma State in the 2016 class, 3-star recruit who spent a year there, transferred in May 2017 to Marshall, and seemed to find his niche there. Had 42 receptions for 505 yards, 4 touchdowns in 2018. Only played 4 games in 2019, but one of those games was his best as a college wide receiver. 8 catches for 146 yards against Louisiana Tech in a 31-10 victory. 6'3", 215 pounds, and this comes just days after learning that Theo Howard blew out his Achilles tendon and is likely to miss, if not all, majority of the regular season. We'll see what his rehab is like, but soon as one went down, another one showed up, and that's just what Oklahoma's been able to do. Didn't know if they were going to be able to do this in the grad transfer market, but obviously they were able to take advantage of Obialo, who announced his decision to leave Marshall as a graduate on January 17th. He had taken a trip to Virginia Tech to see what that was about, and apparently got a call, went down, took a visit over the weekend, and announced at 7 o'clock in the middle of Jennifer Lopez's performance, where she spent more time working a pole in the halftime show of the Super Bowl than she did in the entire movie that is Hustlers. I'm not kidding, because I watched that movie too. Also, shouts to her being able to get her daughter on stage. I know that people feel some kind of way about the halftime performance, but it was a halftime, and it was a performance. Good for J-Lo. Good for the Kansas City Chiefs, but also good for Oklahoma, right? Because now you are back to 5 guys that have played college football and wide receiver on your roster, because Obialo joins a group that includes Charleston Rambo and then Jaden Hazelwood, Theo Weast, Trajan Bridges, as just the only guys there on scholarship who have played FBS football at this level. And I've already talked about what it's going to mean for Spencer Rattler to already have built a rapport with those former 5-star wideouts who are going to be true sophomores, dating back to 2018 at the opening final, where they were magnificent, right? This was when I got to see this group of kids come together that included at the time Jace McClellan in the backfield, along with Austin Stogner tight end there. But they were in a double elimination 7-on-7 tournament against the best players in all of high school football, and they lost their first game. Rattler told his teammates, "That's on me. We will come back. We will win the whole damn thing." And that's exactly what they did. They beat out Bo Nix's squad at the time for the championship. So it's going to be fun to see what they look like in 2020 and how Obialo can help them, because he's familiar with Oklahoma coming out of Coppell, Texas, specifically going to Oklahoma State and at least being a part of the Bedlam rivalry. So he knows what this is about, and he is excited to be headed to Oklahoma. Kind of snuck in there as we're all getting geared up to watch this game, to enjoy this game. And I'm not a really big fan of the Super Bowl commitment, the big sporting event commitment, because we're all focused on something else. And that means I got to go do my job. But I was allowed to do my job and do this at the same time, and I do what I love. I am floored that the Chiefs were able to come back from, well, a two-score deficit and score 21 points in the final 6 minutes of the game. But that's just what they had been all year, right? You were used to them digging that hole in the first quarter and then pouring it on. But they were able to take advantage of some mistakes and miscues by the 49ers offense more than the defense. Jimmy Garoppolo looked as pedestrian as he had looked for most of the postseason, looking like a dude that if it was in his hands to win, didn't really trust that he could do it. There was a questionable offensive pass interference call against George Kittle to end the first half that could have given the Niners more of a lead because they would have been in better position to score, but he did push off. Great catch by him. Just don't push off. Kyle Shanahan probably would have loved to have used that timeout and maybe gone for something a little bit more, but it's hard to Monday morning quarterback this stuff as it happens, right? You just don't know what's going to happen, because if Andy Reid doesn't pick up some fourth down conversions in there, we might be talking about a different ball game altogether, and what his clock management or what his decision making might have looked like, and we're more than likely going to question it. Shouts to Pat Mahomes, who just kept his head up, kept grinding, even as he looked a little bit out of sorts on the sideline. But then Damian Williams came up big. People forget Damian Williams came out of Arizona Western. It's a junior college. They folded their junior college football program 2 years ago, in case you don't think that, yeah, junior colleges matter. They produce guys like him who start at tailback and go win you some games. Shout out to Darwin Thompson, Jinx alumni, who went to NEO, who went to Utah State, ends up at Kansas City, and he's playing when LaShawn McCoy is not. Shout out to James Winchester, who came out of Washington in Oklahoma, walked on at Oklahoma, made his way, ended up being a long snapper for the Chiefs dating back to 2015. He's got a ring now. And of course, Blake Bell, who grew up a Kansas City Chiefs fan. He's from Wichita, Kansas. His uncle played for the Chiefs for some time. Mike Bell was outstanding. I'm sure that they are in tears watching, well, he's in tears watching his nephew as his brother Mark and his sister-in-law Sherry are, I'm sure, over the moon to know that they have a Super Bowl champ in the family, and it is the kiddo that adapted from being a quarterback to being a tight end to bouncing around the league to just trying to make it work and make it happen after it didn't look like it was going to be just that. Caught his first career touchdown pass against the Houston Texans, and the weight of this thing, caught a pass in the Super Bowl. I'm sure all of his former teammates are so excited for him, and his phone is probably broken as it's being blown up. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.